We're back. I'm back. Let's do this shit again. I'm doing another podcast. I'm excited to be back. This time we actually have a topic to discuss, and this is going to be something I'm going to be doing every fucking week. Let's fucking go. Okay. Hey, shocker, another NASCAR podcast. Are you ready for it? um, Welcome in, everybody. Back to Coop Radio again. Not sure if this is going to be a solo show, but I am going to be doing this every single week now, so now you're stuck with me. You're stuck with me doing this every single week, talking about NASCAR and making an ass out of myself. This will be a fun show, though. Coming off the heels of a okay Daytona 500 weekend. All things considered, the one thing I will say right off the jump, it felt a lot better overall. I don't know what it was about the weekend because there was nothing that really happened on track that was all that different or all that better. I think it was just the feeling overall coming into the weekend, coming off the heels of an eventful off season. I think that's probably the best way to say it. But I'm not going to really talk too much about anything that happened during the off season in this episode. I might in the future, maybe to cover an off week of NASCAR, might dive into the lawsuit stuff. I don't know how deeply I want to discuss all of the intricacies and everything that was either discussed and or the actual ruling and what really comes of the ruling, because I don't really feel like that has been fully fleshed out by somebody. And maybe it has, and I just haven't cared enough to try to figure out who has talked about it, and or have I even cared enough to try to, search it out myself. I don't know. But that is also kind of old hat at this point with, the fact that we're already into the new season and it seems like everybody else just wants to move on from it. So whatever, I guess. But that's for a time later in the day, or later in the year, I should say. The one thing I do want to mention, because it was, two things, I guess. One thing I will just pass over very quickly is the 25th anniversary of Dale's passing was this year. I might be in the minority on this, but okay, so it's been 25 years. In a lot of people's eyes, it still affects them. There's a lot of people obviously within the sport that it affects, and they still feel it. And obviously a lot of fans too are still like, I miss Dale. I wish he was still here and the sport would be so much better with him here. But with that being said, it's been 25 years. At some point, we got to move on. They did what feels like the 1,000th documentary about him after the duels. Fox did. It's the same stuff. People are talking about the same exact things. Like at some point, if you don't know the story, if you don't know anything about him, if you don't know what happened, you're actively trying to avoid finding out. Like at some point, it's no longer the story just hasn't reached you yet. It's no longer that. It is now you are just actively trying to avoid it at all costs. Because even if you aren't a NASCAR fan, you had to have at least seen a preview and or seen a clip about the man, whether he's talking or somebody else is talking about him. One of the two, you had to have seen it by now. So you at least know who he is. And you at least know how he died. So I don't want to say don't ever talk about him ever again. I still think that there are certain things that we should still do to honor him. I still think that the 3 car shouldn't be out there on the track. I don't care that Richard has the ability to put that car back on the track and he wants his grandson to be in the car. I add another 3 on there. Seriously, make it the 33 car instead of just the 3 car. I'm not a fan of, or make it the 29. Do something different. I don't like the 3 car being out there. I really don't. There are special circumstances to retire numbers from respective sports. Some sports retire numbers too quickly and for too low of a bar. NASCAR should start to somewhat adopt that with like all-time drivers. And I think even if you were to say, we don't want to retire the 43, we still want to see it on track. We don't want to retire the 48 or the 24, we still want to see those on track. It's understandable. But I think that the 3 is different in the sense of, like I said, there's special circumstances. There's a guy who won 7 championships, tied for the most all time, is considered one of the best drivers of all time, and he died in a very tragic way at the biggest event that the sport has to offer. So I think that that's enough of a special circumstance to say, yeah, I think we should get rid of that number and hang that up in the rafters. So the only other thing I wanted to discuss as far as, anything that happened over the offseason was the passing of Greg Biffle, obviously. This one's a little bit more fresh. I think they did a very good job. Fox did, having people talk about him. The thing I was kind of brought to, like, the thing I kind of brought myself to realize after he passed is, like, you really, like, there's a lot of guys that are still alive today. Like, if you think about it, like, Richard Petty is still alive today. There's a lot of those old guys from way back in the day who are Hall of Fame-esque top-end drivers of all time who are still alive today. And Greg is not, like, we can be honest, Greg is not one of the best drivers of all time. But he is one of the, I think he was named, I'm pretty sure he was named one of the 75 greatest drivers of all time. If Joey Logano can be named one of the 75 greatest drivers of all time, if Dale Earnhardt can, or Dale Earnhardt Jr., I mean, then yeah, Greg Biffle should be. But I think a couple things I'll take away from his passing is it's sad that, the guys like him who are actually seemingly good people, who do a lot of great things, and not in any selfish, like, I want attention for myself kind of way. And maybe, I don't know if he did do those things for that type of way. I took it as he just genuinely wants to help people. And that's pretty rare. And not just racing, but in just humankind, it seems, especially nowadays. People that have the want to just help other people and not expect anything in return. Trying to get other people as well to go out and help people in those tragic events like the hurricane thing and, everything that he has helped with. They kept calling him a humanitarian. So I guess that's the best words to use to describe him. But the guy is a Hall of Famer with everything I think he did off the track. But I think that obviously with what he did on the track, that is also enough to make him a Hall of Famer. And I think that what's sad is this is another guy now that should be in the Hall of Fame, and we won't get to hear his speech, And I think another sad thing also, and there's so many sad things obviously with this, but another sad thing with this is, like, he seemed like one of the people that out of all the guys that you'd see, former racers, current racers, that you see the way they talk in interviews, or you see the type of people that they are and their interests that they have and just their overall personalities, Greg's one that I think more people would be like, that's a guy I actually want to hang out with. That's a guy I actually want to go and have a beer with, or a guy I actually want to get to know as a person. And I feel like he would actually be a genuinely nice guy to know and a nice guy to be around. A lot of these guys can feign being interesting people, or actually, no, they can't, not in current day NASCAR, but maybe, back in the day, they could feign being nice people on camera, and then you go to meet them in person, and it turns out they're not so nice people. I've heard stories of guys who seem like the most friendly and joyful people on camera, pre and post race, that you go and meet them in person and they're, pieces of shit. They tell you, I'd get away from me. I don't want to sign your stuff. I don't want to take a picture with you. I don't want to give you any time of day, and are overall just garbage human beings. But Greg did not come off like that. And so, obviously, condolences to all the family members of the Biffle family. It was nice to see at least somebody from the Biffle family able to speak in that little pre-race thing about Greg. But with that being said, I want to go ahead and let's quickly go over a couple things. Number one, obviously the big takeaway from the weekend. A lot on the broadcast side changed and also didn't change. The main thing being, the biggest takeaway is Fox finally, after what feels like freaking 10 years, they updated their overlays on the broadcast. And that to me is, oh my God. Maybe that's why I feel like this weekend felt different, is because for the first time in a decade, they actually changed the overlays that they have to a different scheme or a different look, a little bit more updated. It was nice of Fox to put in the littlest bit of effort for something on a NASCAR broadcast. That was very nice of them. Also, it seemed like maybe I'm skewed because the ending call was still good, but Mike Joyce seemed a little bit better this weekend. As a broadcaster, seemed a little bit more on the ball than he has been the last couple. Trust me, there was some stuff during the broadcast. There's like, okay, he's showing his age. Maybe he's getting towards the end. But it seemed a little bit better. I didn't hate the race. I really didn't. I didn't hate the race. I didn't think it was all that bad. I didn't really hate any of the races this weekend. Granted, I didn't watch too much of the ARCA race, so I can't really comment too much on that. I only caught the tail end. But the other three races I did watch from start to finish, and I didn't really think they were all that bad races. I came away from the weekend ultimately just seeing the same. It's the same racing we've seen every super speedway that we see every weekend. There's nothing too special or nothing too different happened. Obviously, talking about the 500, everybody was hoping. I think most people were hoping that Kyle would do well, Kyle Busch, that is, and possibly win this weekend. But the ultimate winner that we got was Tyler Reddick. Congratulations to him in 2311, I guess. Somebody obviously pointed out that all three winners of the truck, I almost call it Xfinity, the truck, I'll just call it Grand National Series from now on because that sponsor will keep changing. The Truck Series, the Grand National Series, and the Cup Series, the teams that won those respective races to start the season were all the teams that were somewhat involved in the lawsuit over the offseason, either named in the lawsuit or were actually actively involved in it. Front Row won the truck race, RCR won the Xfinity race, and then obviously 2311 won the Cup race. So quite ironic how that works out. I don't know about anybody else, but it is rearing its ugly head once again. The frickin' fact that I feel nothing whatsoever about so many guys that are currently drivers in the sport. It is a disconnect, in my opinion, of personalities. It is a disconnect of care towards teams, drivers, the cars themselves. There's just a disconnect. And I think that it really starts with the drivers. The personalities just are not there. And it is once again shown in the sense of like, I mean, good God, you stick a microphone in front of these guys' faces and they're just boring. And I understand it's like, oh, their goal isn't to get good at interviews and be charismatic. Their goal is get good at driving and improve on their skills. They're not out there trying to take PR classes or nothing like that. Well, maybe they should. Because if I feel nothing for you as a driver, or if I feel no specific way, whether I love you or I hate you or I like you or I don't like you, whatever it is, then I'm not going to care either way who wins and who doesn't. Therefore, I'm not as invested as a viewer. Now, I'm the exception in the sense that I'm a hardcore fan, so I myself am going to watch regardless. Like, it's not going to matter what I think. It's not going to matter, to me as far as how boring these guys are. I'm watching more for the racing itself. Now, I do enjoy personalities clashing. It makes it more interesting. And trust me, I am very entertained by it, but it's not the end-all be-all for me. But the casuals that watch the sport are going to be more invested and be more of a hardcore fan if these guys actually had a fucking personality. And they don't. None of them do. Name me a guy with a personality, a genuinely good personality. Well, what about Kyle Busch? Kyle Busch is still an ass. Just because he has gotten older and he's painted now as the good guy because all these other guys are just so much worse than he is, that doesn't make him all of a sudden like a great guy. He's still, watch an interview with Kyle, he still comes off like a dick. He still comes off as the same person he's always been. Denny Hamlin is the same way. Denny is he's more eloquent with his words, and I think that's why he does a podcast himself. So he's able to better come off in interview-esque ways, like more of a normal, down-to-earth kind of guy. But then you hear the words that he says and you hear the things that he thinks, and then you're reminded, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I think you're an asshole. It's, even like a guy, everybody's favorite, God, I'll get so much hate for this because of how many people love the guy, but Chase Elliott is another prime example of a guy he has the personality of burnt toast. I'm sorry, actually, burnt toast is more charismatic that's too charismatic. Plain white toast is his personality to a fucking T. Because that guy, if you stick a microphone in front of him, he can barely get through an interview question, a regular ass interview question, without just kind of being like, oh, I don't know. With nothing behind it. Tyler Reddick is the same way. Literally, I could go down the list of every single Cup guy and tell you how either they're unlikable or it's just neutral. There's only not even a handful of guys that come off likable. Connor Zilic comes off like a whimsical kid who's just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here, guys. And so he comes off better than most guys. Ross comes off likable to me. I think most people like Ross Chastain. I can't find too many people that don't like Ross or hate him. I know that people hate Carson Hocevar, but as a person, is he a terrible human being? Like, is he such a dick as a person? No, he comes off like, that's another guy who comes off as like, he'd be fun to hang out with. You can hate what he does on the track. That's fine. You can think he is an idiot as a driver. That's fine. But as a personality, what's so terrible about him? I understand the appeal for a guy like Noah Gragson. It's not my cup of tea, but I understand the appeal because that's another guy who, again, comes off like, just kind of like more like a rednecky kind of guy, like an idiot kind of guy. He's just like an idiot. And the things that he says and the things that he does, and he's just a dumb person. And so it's like you can't really hate the dumb guy for being dumb. You know what I mean? So I understand the appeal for him. People can find him funny. But that's kind of it. I mean, name me somebody who doesn't have like a mental issue that likes Joey Logano. Seriously. Like, find me somebody who doesn't have some type of mental issue that likes Joey. I can't find them. They don't exist. Find me somebody who is a fan of Joey Logano genuinely, who doesn't have a mental disorder of some kind, and I'll give you $10. I won't say 50 because somebody will drum up something stupid. Some rando that live in Missouri. It's like, I always liked that guy because he was supposed to be the best, and you're a fan of him because you're a bandwagon fan. And you just like the guy because he wins, Mickey Mouse championships. Like, that's my point, I guess. And that's ultimately the point of how I feel about Reddick winning. Hey, at least you can hate Austin Hill. At least he drums up some type of attention. At least he drums up some kind of emotion in you. Do you care if Gio Ruggiero wins the ARCA the ARCA race? Does that make you feel anything? Does it make you feel anything that Chandler Smith won the Truck Series race this weekend? Did it make you feel anything? Did it make you feel anything, really? Honestly, that Tyler Reddick won? I mean, he cried a bunch. He pulled the Jamie baby and cried a whole bunch after he won the race. But besides that, like, Austin Hill made you feel something. You hate him. You hate him as a person, you hate him as a driver, and you hate the fact that he always just keeps winning these super speedway races. Why does he keep winning all these drafting tracks? Why? And it bugs the shit out of you because no one can beat him there. That makes you feel something. So in turn, that's a good thing for the sport. I'm thinking in terms of what's good for the sport here. I'm not thinking in terms of what's good for you as a fan. Because honestly, that's what the sport needs to be thinking about right now. That's another conversation for another day. But I mean, kudos to Tyler. I was honestly surprised, I will say. I was surprised about the fact that there was not a caution thrown there at the end. And the fact that when Chase was out front, they didn't immediately throw the yellow. Because God knows they would have loved to see Chase Elliott win a Daytona 500. So many people would have loved to see that. But I'll go through. I'm not going to obviously dive too deep into all these, but I'll go through here. The ARCA race, like I mentioned earlier, Gio Ruggiero won. I'm surprised that they said it on the broadcast. I'm surprised that this is the first time that Joe Gibbs won. I don't know if it was this specific race in the ARCA series or if it's the first ever drafting track win for Joe Gibbs in the ARCA series. I feel like they should have at least won like 10 of these by now because, again, their cars are just... They usually get the driver who is light years ahead of everybody else in the ARCA series. And then on top of that, they always have the car that's light years better than every other car as well. But Ruggiero ended up winning. I guess it's the first drafting track win for Joe Gibbs, either at that specific race or at all drafting tracks in the ARCA series, like I mentioned. What was that guy's name? Gus Dean. Gus Dean had the thing won, it seemed, there at the end. I mean, here's the thing. There was the clip after the race of Gus Dean talking about he just drove right through me. I mean, yeah, he did. Yeah, he kind of did. But it's the ARCA series. Like, here's the thing. No one's taking these races seriously. That's a fan. It seems like everyone just kind of points and laughs. I mean, if you think people point and laugh at how bad the truck series is, no one even cares enough to even point. They'll just laugh at the ARCA series. So the fact that the race ended with Gio just driving through Gus Dean there at the end, that does not surprise me at all. Not because I think Ruggiero is a bad driver. It's just more so it's par for the course with the ARCA races. I'm surprised Daniel Dye led 20 laps. I must have missed that part of the race. Where he led 20 and Jake Finch was leading 32. That was the other guy that was up there, Jake Finch. That was involved in that wreck, I think. I think it was Finch and Gus Dean. But Dean led 15. I mean, not much. Like I said, I missed most of the race. I see that Mini Tyrell, I saw he wrecked. If anybody doesn't know, Ram obviously is back in the sport in the truck series, but also I assume to try to just get their Ram truck winner of their little reality series that Ram did. Drive for the Seat, I think it was called, where basically they held a little like reality show with like 8 or 12 guys. Maybe it's 16. I don't fucking know. In a reality series, basically to determine who would get a ride in the truck series for Kaulig Racing in one of the Ram trucks. It's an attempt. There's effort put in to try to drum up some more interest in NASCAR and some more interest in, obviously, Ram as a whole being in NASCAR. So, I mean, hey, good on them. Seriously, good on them for actually putting in some effort and wanting some people to pay attention to the fact that they're back in the sport and trying to actually drum up some more interest in the sport itself. I don't know if that's the move. I don't know if I don't know how much interest that actually ever really got people to care about the trucks or care about Mini Tyrell or care about anybody in the thing, but hey, I'm not going to bash on him for it. I'm surprised there was 40 fucking ARCA cars in this goddamn race. That is just, I know that probably some of them were starting parks, but Jesus Christ, there's 40 cars in this ARCA race. But yeah, Mini Tyrell did not have a great weekend. A great weekend overall. I think he did okay in the trucks. I'll look again here when we talk about the truck race, but I saw he wrecked in the ARCA race. I mean, good luck to him. I just don't know how successful they're thinking he's going to be this year. I think that, again, you can't stick somebody in something that they really have no experience in and expect them to get it right away. So if they actually are going to be committed to Mini Tyrell for the long term, that being Kaulig and Ram, my thinking would be that they would have to give him multiple years to get ready for the trucks and actually be good in the trucks. People, I think, just expect that because you're a driver and you race all the time, that if they throw you into a vehicle of any kind, that you'll just be fast in it right away. And that's not everybody. Some people it takes time, and I think that if they want Mini Tyrell to be any sort of success for Ram, they got to give him some time. So hopefully the leash isn't too short on Mini Tyrell. But other than that, there wasn't really much interesting to me. That is the ARCA series. Again, not many people watch the ARCA races, to be honest. Oh, the one thing I will say, though, about the ARCA race, and this will lead into this truck race here in a minute, the lead commentator for the ARCA race, can we hire him to do the trucks? Because him compared to Jamie Little is night and day. Now, granted, the competition is not exactly fierce coming from Jamie Little there, as far as being a play-by-play commentator for a NASCAR race. But even in the short amount of time I heard him commentating for the ARCA race, he sounded better, his calls were better, his enthusiasm was better, he was just better. So my preference would be that he would be the guy calling the truck races, and maybe just give Jamie Little the ARCA races. Let her have her fun in the ARCA races. Seriously. I just, let's talk about the truck race now. Let's talk about Jamie, because Chandler Smith was the one who won the truck race, and because I assume that most people heard this, but I'm still going to play this for everybody to hear. This is the call to the line in what was, by the way, a great finish for the truck race. Here's the call to the line from little Jamie baby.
Off turn 4.
That was a late block to the bottom.
The 27th running.
He's going to get to his outside. They're going to get to his inside.
Oh! 4 wide across the checkered flag.
Smith.
Chandler Smith.
At the very end. Yep. Unbelievable. He stayed on the bottom. They all went up.
Don't look at the scoring pylon right now. It is unofficial, but Chandler Smith is celebrating on the radio.
You had to hear, so you heard Kevin and Joey, they were almost forced to try to talk over her, to try to actually just have any sort of commentary as they come to the line. I mean, she is quite literally, it's like she just doesn't know what to say. And this is not like a woman-hating thing. This is not like a, I don't want to hear no fucking woman commentating over my races. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. If she was actually good at her job, then this wouldn't be a conversation. The conversation is they are coming to the line for the end of the race in a great finish, like I said, and she has nothing to say. I don't even remember, what is it, the 46th running or whatever, but she's like, and I mean, she's so behind that as they're actually coming to the line is when she's mentioning that this is the 46th running of the Truck Series race at Daytona. And Joey and Kevin, who are racers, who have almost no experience besides just the times when they're thrown in the fucking booth, they have no experience as far as TV. They have no experience as far as trying to learn the job of being a commentator. They're just given this job. I think because they're just willing to do it, because I assume they probably want other people, but the other people are just like, I don't want to do this. I have no interest in doing this, so I'm not going to do it. So Joey gets it and Kevin gets it. But like, this is her job. This is what she's wanted to do her entire career, is probably be in this position where she's being the lead play-by-play commentator. I can't imagine that they're forcing her to do this, because if she didn't want to do this job, she'd, again, just say no, and I'll stick to pit road. But she wants this job. And yet, she's so bad at it. I'm sorry, there's no excuses. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Fuck that. I'm not sorry. Why the fuck would I care? Why the fuck would I care? You're terrible at your job, Jamie, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Why do I keep saying I'm sorry? I'm not fucking sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. I mean, there's no excuses. You've done this your whole career. Being on TV, having to ask questions, being light on your feet when it comes to, thinking of things to say. And yet you're just so behind on everything. There's no enthusiasm. There's no intellect. There's nothing there. There are people now who have resorted to either trying their best to just ignore her and listen to like a different broadcast, like somebody else doing the commentary for it independently of the race, or they're just muting the fucking volume because they can't stand to listen to her. It's another reason why like the truck races are just like, it takes away from the race, quite literally. It takes away from the race for her being the play-by-play commentator. And that's why I say, like, so many other people will be like, hire Alan Bestwick or bring back Rick Allen to do the truck races or whatever. You don't even have to go that far. There's a guy currently doing the ARCA races for Fox. Hire him. Hire that guy. Let him be the fucking play-by-play guy for the truck races. And hey, even if you wanted Jamie to still be in the freaking booth, let her be a color person. Let her just sit in the back and mention something every now and then. But don't make her be the play-by-play person. It doesn't work. She's had now years of experience being the play-by-play person. There's no improvement. If you want to relate this to something else, Tom Brady was not very good in his first year in the NFL being a commentator for Fox. And then year 2, he was a lot better. There was improvement shown. Jamie's done this for years. And there's been no improvement shown at all. Get her out of the booth. If anybody at Fox is listening, get her the fuck out of the booth. Moving on. The truck race itself was fine. It's quite sad when something that they mention in the broadcast is, hey, we've only had 6 cautions all race long. That's really good for us. How sad is that? How sad is that when the commentators of the race are commenting on the fact that, hey, we've only had 6 cautions in this race. That's really good for the truck series. That's pathetic. That's sad. The race itself, like I said, no qualms about it. I thought it was a pretty good race. Maybe it's a personal issue I have. John Hunter, I feel like he drives like a shithead. Like he drives like such an idiot. And I know I'm not alone on this. I know that there are other guys in the field, especially in the Cup Series, that feel the exact same way. That it is every week that guy is doing something stupid. Hey, they commented on the fact that in the Cup Series he has like the best average finish in the Daytona 500. There's probably a reason for it, because he's wiping out everybody else in the fucking field to the point where he's the only guy left. Maybe that's an exaggeration, obviously, but point still standing that the fact that this guy, he is built like a child, he has the face of a child, and he drives like a child. He's a child. Like the guy's a kid. Mentally. You just go back and watch some of the moves that he made in the race. He's trying so hard to not lose a single spot, even though at that point there was laps to go and he could have easily got another run and got right back up to the front. And there were so many times where it's like he's just making pushes where you can see guys are just out of control, or he is throwing blocks that are just like you're asking to get turned. The block there at the end, he blocked everybody so much, and yet what was funny was coming to the fucking line, he came up the track for no reason. Go back and watch this. He was hugging the yellow line, coming to the line, and he's got the he's got the two guys above him. And if he had just hugged the yellow line, Chandler Smith, who was coming with a head of steam, had nowhere to go. He can't pass him to the left below the yellow line, so he would have to inevitably push John Hunter, which would have gave John Hunter the win. But instead, John Hunter thought, I'm not going to get a push. I'm just going to turn right and try to push the other guys up and into the fucking wall in an attempt to try to slow them down that way in the hopes I make it to the line before them. That's the marks, to me, of an idiot. Either that or his spotter's an idiot and didn't tell him Chandler's coming with a head of steam. Stick to the yellow line. Like, why aren't you sticking to the yellow line? He literally gave the race to Chandler. He literally drove up the track and moved out of his way right as he got to him and right as he passed him. Like, there's no reason to move up the track there. So, like, hey, there's a reason why John Hunter hasn't worked out. Let's put it that way. There's a reason why he went to Cup, didn't work out, went back to trucks, and then went back to Cup now. And he's still not working out. Don't blame it all on Legacy's equipment. Look at Spire. Carson's able to pull a shit ton more out of that Spire equipment than John Hunter's able to do with Legacy Motorsports equipment. My point being, like, that guy he's an idiot in so many different ways. And I know I'm not alone in thinking that. I know for a fact that there's so many people in that field that feel the exact same way. Just watch the moves he makes. The guy's a dumbass. So I enjoyed the truck race. I enjoyed the truck race, all right. Xfinity race. I thought the Xfinity race, again, similar. I enjoyed the Xfinity race. I don't hate. God, people hate Austin Hill. God, do people hate Austin Hill. And you know what? You can hate him. But at this point, at this specific thing, you can't not respect it. At this point, you cannot not respect it. The dude wins at drafting tracks. It is now at the point where, like, is he not one of the... I'm getting very specific here because I know I'm going to get so much hate for this. Is it not at the point now where at this very specific thing, at drafting tracks in the Grand National Series, I said Xfinity earlier, I realized that. In the Grand National Series specifically, at drafting tracks specifically, is he not one of the best all time? At drafting tracks specifically in the Grand National Series, he is won so much over these last few years at Atlanta, at Daytona, at Talladega. The dude is unbeatable. He's led so much. He just controls the field like no one else in the Grand National Series. He controls it like literally nobody else. It's crazy to watch because you think, hey, he's only got one teammate, Jesse Love. Okay. Now, granted, Jesse's pretty good in his own right. But again, is it almost like, is it because Jesse looks good because he's following Austin Hill and just doing what he does? But like Hendrick, it's basically Hendrick, Junior Motorsports, they've got 4 fucking cars out there. There's all these other different Chevys. There's not very many Toyotas, but like, or Fords. Like, at the end of the day, how do these guys not all gang up on him and just go, fuck this guy, get him the fuck out of here? Anybody but him. How is it that you guys, all of these Xfinity guys, I said Xfinity again, all these Grand National Series guys, how is it that you hate him so much? You despise him so much, and yet you can't beat him. Every single time he beats you. Every time. It's not like he's just faster than everybody. There's something that they said on the broadcast was like, well, he's in the best equipment out there. It's like, is he really? RCR is mid-level at best in the Cup Series. Is it really that RCR has just the best equipment in the Grand National Series? It's pretty well known that like Joe Gibbs and Junior Motorsports are usually 1 and 2 as far as equipment wise. Everybody else is just a distant third on back. So if you want to say RCR is the 3rd best equipment, then that's different. That's fine. That's probably true. But like, it's depending on the week, it's Joe Gibbs or Junior Motorsports at 1 and 2. And then it's RCR, and then it's everybody else. So saying it's equipment is not an accurate statement as to why he's so good. Well, they got these drafting tracks figured out. No. It's the team and the driver have the drafting tracks figured out. It's not the organization. And it's not that their cars have so much more power or that they're just so much better compared to Junior Motorsports and Joe Gibbs at those tracks. They have something figured out that those other teams don't have. But like equipment-wise, Richard Childress Racing is 3rd at best on that list. So it's Austin Hill. And it's that team. And there's something about him and the way he races those that he's able to, I mean, he went to the front from like the back in 3 laps after he had to come down and take tires because he was having issues. And yet he made it look fucking as easy as pie. He made it look so easy. So to sit here now and just be like, no, he's not, because you hate him, that's fine. You can hate him. You can be a fan and you can hate him because he's a dick and he's a little bit of a bitch in his own way and whatever. But like, the dude's good at this specific thing. He's very good. You have to give him that. That being said, though, there is something I wanted to talk about. This, I'm going to clip this. Austin Hill is not the most eventful thing that came out of this race, and not the most eventful thing from the Grand National Series that came out of this weekend. We got to talk about Natalie Deckers. Oh my God. Okay, so long story short, Natalie had, I think, an eventful week as a whole. She went on a podcast with Matt Tifft. And you know what? We're going to wait on that one. Let's talk about the race first. The race itself, she finished, where did she finish? Not great, as always. She finished 33rd. Okay. She was racing for Joey Gase Motorsports this weekend. Had no idea she was in the race. I had no idea she was in the race. She was in the news earlier this week, so I knew she was still alive and she was still out there doing something. But I had no idea she was in this race. Until, of course, there was one of the big ones towards the end of the race where Sam Mayer was involved. For anybody who didn't watch the race, long story short, there was a big one that happened where Sam Mayer was involved. Sam's car was destroyed. His front end was torn off. His hood was up and I think over his windshield. God knows whatever else problems he had with his car after obviously being in the wreck. And of course, when you're involved in a wreck that badly, the car is going to sometimes take as much damage to where you can't steer it, or maybe you can't brake it, or, like you can't stop the car. You can't do anything. You're kind of at the mercy of the car sometimes. There was a wreck that happened that Sam was in, and as I said, his car was destroyed to all hell, and it happened in turn 4. So in turn 4, I'm not going to show the video. You can go look it up yourself. I will show a video later on, though. He's in a wreck, and he's coming up the track, and of course, he gets ARCA braked really bad. And to no one's surprise, it was Natalie. She came in from fucking 2 miles back. Was supposedly committed to the outside and just barreled right into Sam. Destroyed her car. Her car was like clean at this point. I'm shocked she made it that long without wrecking the thing. She came in and barreled right into him. And destroys the car. Now she's on the radio, and this is all over social media, where she's talking about, why the hell did he come up the track? Why wasn't he holding the brakes? Why this, why that? I have never seen, here's the thing. There's so many of these drivers that say shit on the radio that the, quote, figureheads of the sport are very quiet on. The other guys who do podcasts and talk about the sport and are actually actively involved in the sport in some way, shape, or form, whether a part of a team by a spotter or, racing, or, they're in some executive position. And these people are usually, it feels like, pretty quiet when it comes to bad-mouthing or bashing or calling out other people. Especially certain drivers. She has now gotten so bad, Natalie that is, she's gotten so bad now that everyone called her out this weekend. After she went on the radio and basically blamed Sam. Because she went on the record saying, why did that guy, whoever that guy was, go down into their pit box and talk to them and ask them what the hell they're doing? Which, by the way, I can guarantee you, the spotter nor the crew chief had anybody go and talk to anyone on that fucking team. They ignored her completely and said, yeah, sure, we will. Don't worry, we will. And didn't do it. I guarantee you that happened. So she goes barreling into Sam and blames Sam, even though his car's already fucking destroyed, been destroyed for the last minute, and turns and blames him. So I want to go ahead. Let's pull this up here quick. Let's take a look and take a nice listen to, oh God, where did this go? I think I lost it. I'm going to cut this. Oh, no, I got it. I forgot it's on YouTube. Okay, so let's go ahead and, by the way, thank you to Noah Lewis, one of the, I almost said it's on my shintiv, one of the people who get to hang out at the track and play being interviewer or reporter or journalist or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. But thank you to Noah Lewis anyways for allowing us to use your YouTube video. He totally allowed us to use it. And let's take a look and let's listen to Natalie speak about her opinions on what happened at that wreck.
Really bummed that this was the outcome because, you know, I wanted to show them.
Natalie, what did you see there? Obviously, the car coming back up the track, and you got into it.
Yeah, that first I just want to thank my sponsors, T and Dickinson's. They're brand new here. This was their first race, my first time working with them, and I'm just really bummed that this was the outcome because, you know, I wanted to show them a good time. I'm hoping they still enjoyed every minute of it because I know I did, but that really sucked. My spotter told me, you know, that there was a big wreck and just to slow up, and that's what we did. And then as soon as everything got calm, he told me to get all the way to the high side and just keep coming through. And then I think it was the 41 that just randomly, it felt like he rolled back up the track, and at that point I was committed and there was nowhere I could go. I really hate it for all the guys back at the shop though, because they worked so hard to get us here. Felt like such a last minute deal and they put in so much effort. So as soon as we get back home, maybe I'll go back over there and help them as much as I can. I just feel really bad.
She can't help him at all. What the fuck is she gonna do? First off, blaming the spotter is the number one thing that these guys always seemingly do every fucking time. It's always the spotter's fault. It's never the driver's fault. You're in the fucking car. You can see it happening. It's right in front of you. There's no excuses. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, you are in the car, you're in control of the car, blaming the spotter and saying, he told me to go up there though. It doesn't mean you can be told to drive off the fucking cliff. You can be told to drive to pit road right now. You can be told, park it, put it in the garage. It doesn't mean you have to do it. It doesn't mean that the spotter technically is a suggestion. It's technically a suggestion. So when the spotter says car high, there are times where a driver will clear themselves and drive up there, even though the spotter isn't sure or says car high or something like that. Driver can clear themselves because ultimately the spotter's not in control of the car. The spotter isn't like, you're not like an AI robot where the spotter's sitting there going, drive up to the top, and then that means you have to immediately turn to the right and drive up to the top. That's not how it works. You're in control of the fucking car. You make the decisions. You steer it. You either say, I'm going left or I'm going right. I'm going high or I'm going low. And you can ultimately make the prediction of where is this car going to go. Also, by the way, you have a thing called a brake pedal. You have a brake pedal. Again, just because he says start coming, again, do you have no autonomy? You can decide when to go and when not to go. Also, you don't need to be going as fast as you were going. You could be going slower. You could try to take more of a predictive way of like, how do I get around these cars and still in front of me? I don't know. At some point, it's not everybody else. At some point, it's you. You are ultimately in control of the car, and it is not a surprise that the common denominator of all of these ridiculously stupid wrecks that keep happening is you. Let's finish this interview.
Bad. My next race is going to be Pocono with T and Dickinson's. Hopefully there'll be more in between because that's not until June. But like I said, I just hate it for everyone back at the
Let's hope not. Let's hope there's not more races in between now and Pocono.
shop because they worked so hard to put that car on the track.
See him coming up the track, do you think, okay, he's got to stop, or?
Yeah, he looked pretty stopped at the bottom, and my spotter was just telling me that we were.
He obviously did not look stopped. Either, okay, you know what? Maybe she thought he actually did look stopped. If that's the case, where's your contacts? Where's your fucking glasses? Anybody who was watching Sam, by the way, he was coming up the track with enough speed to get up the track and into the wall. You need enough speed to where you don't look stopped in order to make it up the fucking banking and get to the wall.
Clear up there, everything was good, and then as soon as it looked like we weren't going to be clear anymore, it was like at the last second, and my spotter was like, well.
That is not the last second. By the way, look at that face. I stopped at a hell of a time. Hold on. I want her to say that again.
At the bottom, and my spotter was just telling me that we were clear up there, everything was good, and then as soon as it looked like we weren't going to be clear anymore, it was like at the last second, and my spotter was.
No, it was not the last second. You can see it. I mean, dude, you're a mile behind the wreck. The wreck's like over, and you're still coming through there and finding a way to get more involved. Like, blame who you want. And say, well, sorry I put you in this spot. You know, like, it's not the spotter. At the end of the day, you can see it coming. You can see the car starting, like, I don't care how high you are. You're looking at that car and you're seeing, okay, he's actually not stopped. He's actually moving up the track. Oh my God, he's coming up the track. He might hit the wall on the outside. Maybe I should, I don't know, slam on the brakes. Or turn in a different direction. Or do something different.
Was like, well, there's nothing really we could do about that, and it just sucks. I feel bad for everybody that was involved in that because it's just a shitty situation, but hopefully there's more on my schedule before Pocono because I really want to get back out there.
You said on the radio that it hurt. Are you okay?
Yeah, okay, there's been a few different wrecks that I've been in, and for whatever reason, that was probably one of the hardest. It probably didn't look that hard, but just the way I hit, yeah, that was definitely
now that shit
the
did
hardest.
look hard.
So, or maybe I just haven't been in a hard wreck in a while, and I forgot what it felt like. I don't know, but it felt pretty good.
It felt good. What do you mean it felt good? Did it feel good sucking? Did it feel good not being good? Anyways, that is not the most eventful thing she said this weekend. Now, I know this might be old news for some people, but I have to talk about this. This is not the only interview that Natalie Deckers did this week. She is... I might have to start going back and looking at old Natalie Deckers interviews, which might be hell on earth for me to have to do. But I think I have to. She did an interview earlier. Earlier this week. An interview that she did with Matt Tifft, another wildly successful driver. Matt Tifft and Natalie Deckers did an interview on Matt Tift's podcast called Speedway Sessions. It was about an hour and a half. I did not watch the whole thing. I have not watched the whole thing. There was one specific clip of this interview that went around like wildfire on social media. And there's another clip here I have that I think is worth showing as well, because this is not as widely popularized for obvious reasons. But let's go ahead and dive into this because this is worth listening to. Now, a lot of the comments in this video are bashing her to no end. Bashing her looks, bashing her, the way she's talking, like just calling her an airhead, like all that other stuff. But let's go ahead and let's not judge her by the comments in the comments section of YouTube videos. Let's go ahead and judge her by the words she actually says. So this first clip that I have here, I have two clips. This first clip that I have here is her talking about all of her haters. I don't know the co-host's name to Matt Tifft, but he is a character, as you will see here in this video, from the short bit that I heard from him. But let's go ahead. Let's not wait anymore. Let's listen to what Natalie Deckers has to say about the people that hate her on social media and online.
Way to go, Mom. Hey, and since you brought it up, okay, so I personally, I like you. I like following you. I like watching all the stuff you put out. I like all your interviews. I think you're very sweet, and seeing you with your beautiful baby is awesome. But you are one of the most hated people on social media.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? I tell you what, they get me, and I picked up baking. I have to bake cookies to get out of my own head because they can figure me out. So I just want to go from someone that's get the perspective from someone that's dealt with it for quite some time. How do you deal with that? How do you clear your head beforehand?
What is this guy talking about? First off, what did he just say? What the fuck did he just say? Did he just say he has to pick up baking? He had to pick up baking to what? Avoid haters on social media? First of all, I don't know who the fuck this guy even is. So I can't imagine he's got a fucking... At least she has the ability to say, yeah, I have thousands upon thousands of people that say I suck at driving and should stop driving. But who the fuck even is this guy? Well, let's go ahead. I won't interrupt. I'll keep interrupting, but let's hear what Natalie has to say in response to that question from that person.
You know, it messed with me for like my first 2 years, like racing in ARCA for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then the first year in the truck series, it fucked with my head to where I would like call my team owner at the time at DGR, David Gilliland, and I'd be like, we need to talk about this. And he'd meet me in the conference room and he was like, you need to see a sports therapist because I can't help you. I don't know. Get a dog. That's what he told me. So I got a dog. So
honestly, let's think about that for a second. Let's think about that statement. So she got so much hate online that she called her team owner. I assume this is what I take this as. Let's imagine for a minute Natalie is calls David Gilliland. You know David Gilliland, the former Cup Series driver. Maybe not the most successful career, but he had somewhat of a long career. He raced with multiple teams. He was good enough to make it to the Cup Series and stay in the Cup Series. David Gilliland gets called into a conference or a meeting with one of his drivers, Natalie Deckers, who probably has not finished. Actually, no, I take that back. I think she did finish top 5 one race, but probably has had very little success, if any, at this point in her entire racing career, not just NASCAR career. And he has to hear, I can't handle this. I need help. You need to do something about this. All these people online are hating me. They say I'm no good. They say I should quit. You know what? I want you to do something about it. I want you to go and ban these people on social media. I want you to block these people. I want you to respond to them. I want you to... I can't handle this anymore. I need you to do something about this. You don't think she said that? I guarantee you she said something to the degree of that. I guarantee you. You think this bitch has thick skin? She, after she got hate online, called her owner into a meeting and said, I need help. I don't know what the fuck to do. I can't handle this hate online. Now think about this. Think about it. Think about David Gilliland. Why do you think David... I 100% believe her when she says, David Gilliland told me to just get a fucking dog. Because he's sitting there going, what the fuck? Who cares? Why the fuck do you care? Why the fuck should I care about this? There's stupid ass people on social media saying shit about you. Hey, maybe you should get better. Maybe you should improve on your racing. Maybe you should get off social media and get a dog so then that thing will keep you occupied so you're not on social media. Back to Natalie.
really messed with me. Because it felt like if they say like something about like my driving, like I would take it like personally, like
as you should. As you should. If people are telling you you're not good, there's probably a reason. I highly doubt that there's anybody in Kyle Larson. Now, granted, this is an extreme circumstance probably, but I highly doubt that there's anybody in Kyle Larson's DMs or Kyle Larson's replies to anything he posts on social media going, "You suck as a racer. You should just quit. You're no fucking good. You should get back to the fucking, you should go home and let somebody else take that job. You're just taking somebody's job who actually is good, who should actually be in that seat and could actually do something with it." I highly doubt anybody in Kyle Larson's DMs is saying that. I highly doubt if you want to compare it to like somebody in the Truck Series, I highly fucking doubt that even at the end of Matt Crafton's career, there was a lot of people in Matt Crafton's DMs going, "Fucking retire already. You're no fucking good. You're washed." Maybe there's like one or two people that would say that. But probably the majority of people are not saying that about Matt Crafton at the end of his career. If people are in the social, or if enough people are saying the same thing, maybe there's some merit to it. Back to Natalie.
They're right. They know me, and it would just get to me so easily. But
yeah, they are right. The thing is that they are right, and maybe that's why it does get to you, because they're right.
Now I feel like nothing even matters. I'm I don't care. Say what you want. I'm the one out there doing it, and you're not. So I'm just gonna ignore it. But
that's a problem. I'm doing it, so therefore I'm just going to ignore you. I'm going to ignore any sort of criticism towards me because I'm in the seat and you're not. Never mind the fact that I'm involved in a wreck in almost every race that I've ever been in, and I don't think I've finished past 30th in a race that isn't a super speedway race. But you aren't in the seat, and I am. So therefore, I'm not going to listen to you anymore.
To be honest, I feel like the hate has only gotten worse. It's only been more chaotic. And at this point, I just this is going to sound cocky, but I don't really mean it this way. But I really honestly think it's because I have fake boobs. I'm blonde. I'm 5 feet tall, and I like the sport that they like. They're mad about that. I feel like most men are angry that a little tiny blonde is in love with the sport that they're in or that they love. And I'm just that has to be it, right? That has to be the reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's that.
There's no other reason. There's no other reason that they would hate me. Look at Matt Tiff's face here. I think even Matt Tiff is aware enough to know, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? He looked at his co-host and went, "Good luck, buddy. Good luck trying to talk your way out of this one." Oh my God. Natalie has deluded herself into believing that the only reason that anyone could hate her is because, her words, she has fake boobs. She's a hot blonde, a blonde girl, 5 feet tall. Who cares about that? That has nothing to do with anything. And that it's the simple fact that we hate her because we like the same thing. And oh, by the way, it's all guys. It's just guys. Never mind that there couldn't be a single other woman on the planet who thinks she sucks. That couldn't be a possibility. It's all guys, and we all hate her just because of how she looks and the fact that she likes the same thing we do. That's her reasoning. That's her reasoning as to why we don't like her. Holy fucking shit. Okay. I want to hear this guy's response to that. Because look at Matt's face. Matt's like, "Good luck responding to that, brother."
Sounds right to me. I didn't.
Even like slow talking, like, I guess that sounds right to me.
Want to point it out. Okay. I've been asking these guys if I could talk about your fake boobs all day long. So,
Okay, I've had enough of him. See, it's like, whatever. That guy's a creep. Here's the main one, though. Let's go to the next clip that everyone is seemingly talking about. So, let's hear Natalie. I'm going to get to the right exact point. Right here. This is where I want to start. So, I did not listen to this whole thing, but the main reason why that everybody is talking about this podcast is because of this clip right here. Let's hear Matt talk to Natalie about her relationship with her now husband, who she has a kid with. Take it away, Matt.
I do want to jump to the other side of the relationship here, right? So Derek, he is racing in the Hunt the Front series this year and dirt late model racing, which I love dirt late model racing. What does he think about, your racing career? Obviously, you're a wonderful mother. Where does he sit from his racing career to, your influencer career, your racing career? How does that dynamic look for you guys? Take me through that process, because he didn't just marry Natalie Decker, the person.
Holy shit, man.
I mean,
Get to
he
the end
married
of the question.
into essentially a celebrity figure in the racing community, right? So that's got to be a very interesting position, even for a seemingly pretty normal guy. That's a lot to take on for somebody.
Yeah, well, we got to go all the way back to when I first met Derek. So I was 14 years old, and I went.
Pause. I don't even think like that right there. Just the fact that I was 14 years old, that should be enough to go, what? I went back up 5 seconds. I'm going to let it fully play out. How did you meet your now husband, Daniel, Natalie?
So I was 14 years old, and I went to his home track at Elko, and he was a few people in front of me in line, checking in to get like your pit pass. And he was wearing a baby blue Bauer hat, hockey brand, backwards. And I look at my dad and I said, do you think that's a hockey player and a race car driver? Because if that's the case, I will marry that guy. And my dad was like, oh, whatever. So I was actually racing against Derek's dad that first time I ever went to that track. And I met them, short track racing in the Midwest. After the race, you go to the bar. So I met them at the bar afterwards. And
Hold on. You're 14 and you're going to a bar? By the way, this is not in the clips that are going around in X. I actually didn't hear this part yet. I just made sure the timestamp when this started, because I actually wanted to hear this whole thing. Why is a 14-year-old going to a bar after a race? Why is there a 14-year-old being brought to a bar, assumingly by her father, for any reason? That is questionable in itself. But let's let her continue the story here.
And I didn't realize that Derek was like 4 years older than me. So I was like, well, this isn't going to work. He's 18, I'm 14. So then
that is true. It's not going to work. That you can't do that. If an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old try to get together, that's not only technically, I think, illegal, but not only is that illegal legally, but that should be illegal morally.
Like the whole year goes by. Now we're at Oktoberfest at the end of the season. And like, he now knows I'm like obsessed, madly in love. Like, I think he's the coolest guy. I think he's so cute. Like, I'm crushing on him hard, and I'm just like this little girl to him at this point. So like, he's like,
You're a little girl to everybody. You're not a little girl to him. You're a little girl at this point to everybody because you're a 14-year-old child. You're 14 years old. You're a child.
cute. Like, I'm crushing on him hard, and I'm just like this little girl to him at this point. So like,
To everybody.
like, he has a girlfriend. Like, he's like, you know, graduated high school. So like, it's weird, right? And
Yeah.
fast forward now. So like, we're now maybe 6 months after Oktoberfest. He messaged me on Instagram and he was like, call me when you're 18.
Pause. What? That right there is red flag city. Like, there's so many blinking red lights. There are so many red flags right fucking there. Like, what? Who in their right mind? Hey, I just graduated high school. And assumingly, he probably just broke up with whatever girlfriend he had at the time. And he said to himself, you know what would be smart? I'm going to message this 14-year-old child, underage, minor, child, 14. What grade are you in at 14? I think you're in like 7th grade, aren't you? 8th grade, maybe? Yeah, you're in 8th grade. I graduated high school, and I just messaged an 8th grader. And I think it's a smart move to say, hey, when you're 18 years old, you should call me. Brother, what?
Oh,
I
that's
said
whoa.
that. I will.
Uh-oh. Is
Even the co-host went, uh-oh. Even the co-host look at his posture. For anybody who's listening to this on audio, I'm so sorry. When I keep saying, look at this, look at that, I'm going to have this video obviously on YouTube with the video in the background, but look at this man's posture. He's so uncomfortable now. He's sitting there going, uh-oh. I want to hear him say that again.
Call me when you're 18.
oh,
I
that's
said
whoa.
that. I will.
Uh-oh.
Brother said, uh-oh. He got really uncomfortable because somebody just outed their husband as a possible groomer. Oh my fucking God. This is why I think people think that she's such an airhead, because how do you not, as you're saying this, go, you know, even if you think like, this is all innocent, it's just kids being kids or whatever fucking fucked up thing in your head that you're thinking. Even as you're saying this, how do you not think to yourself in that moment, maybe I should leave this part out. Maybe I shouldn't say this exact part. Maybe. You know, maybe there might be something that might happen where, you know, it could either come back to bite me in the ass, or it could come back to bite my husband in the ass, or maybe this is something that happens internally and within our family, that this is something that doesn't need to be shared to the public for everyone to hear and see. Maybe. Even the guy with the stupid redneck t-shirt on, who has been a creep to her, by the way, a creep to her the whole episode, even he's like, maybe this is something that we shouldn't be talking about on a podcast. Oh my good God. Let's hear her say that one more time. Go ahead, Natalie. Say it again.
Call me when you're 18.
That's right. Call you when you're 18, right?
Oktoberfest, he messaged me on Instagram and he was like, call me when you're 18.
Yep, that's what your husband said to you. Yep, that's how you got with your husband.
Oh,
I
that's
said that.
whoa.
I will.
Uh-oh. Is that
I just can't. I can't with him just going, uh-oh. And then he immediately leans back in his chair like he's trying to lean away from this exact situation. I almost, because she kind of talks, and I want to hear what she says there because I can't hear.
18.
Oh,
I
that's
said that.
whoa.
I will.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and then she said, okay, bet I will. And my exact response as what is his name? Daniel? As Daniel's lawyer, I'd go, uh-oh.
Is that grooming?
Let me answer that question for you, Matt. Yes, it is.
Oh,
I
that's
said that.
whoa.
I will.
You know what Daniel's lawyer's response is going to be when he hears this in the deposition at some point? This is exactly what the lawyer is going to say.
Uh-oh. Is that
He's going to go, uh-oh. And what was that question again, Matt? This is what the plaintiff is going to ask Daniel in that exact questioning.
grooming?
What was that question
Oh,
again,
that's
Matt?
whoa.
Go ahead and say it.
Uh-oh.
Say that.
Is that grooming?
That is a good question, Matt. Let Natalie answer that for you. That's her answer. Her answer is just laughing. That's her answer to the question. What was that again, Natalie? Let me give you another chance to answer the question here. What was the question again, Matt?
I will.
Uh-oh. Is that grooming?
What's your response to that, Natalie? Ah, okay. Gotcha. Great response. Good God. You know what? Let's keep this going. Look at his face. Look at the co-host's face. He is wildly uncomfortable. Brother, those sunglasses can hide your eyes, but they cannot hide the expression on your face of pure secondhand embarrassment and pure uncomfortableness. Shut up, phone. I don't know why my phone is talking to me there. Let's hear the rest of her response. Let's see if she actually does give a response to this.
I feel like that's grooming.
We never
What
talked.
what does Levi feel about the grooming here?
Matt, you feel like that's grooming because that is grooming. Maybe it's not. Okay, it is grooming. But I was going to say, I don't know to what extent it's grooming. It's still like a version of grooming. To message a 14-year-old child and say, when you're 18, call me. That's like grooming.
So then I was like, okay, deal. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's not a girlfriend.
She ignored the question. She completely ignored the question. I think Matt was genuinely asking that question and hoping that she would actually give a response. But she completely just bulldozed by that question and just went, so anyways, on with my story. Let's let her finish her story. By the way, she's wearing, for anybody who's listening on the download or on a not seeing this on YouTube, she is wearing a something Daytona, and then it says nude, and it says show the world your nuts. Anyways, continue your story, Natalie.
When you told me that. So now we're racing Speed Weeks. I'm at New Smyrna. He's racing a legend car somewhere else. I don't know where legend cars race down there, but he texted me.
A true racer. I don't know. He's racing legends somewhere down there. I don't know where the fuck he's racing legends cars. I don't even know where they race down there. You think I know anything about racing? I only just want to race for a living. But you expect me to know anything about racing?
And he's like, how's it going? And it was Valentine's Day. So, Dad, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but my mom already knows about it. So I'll say it. I sent him a very.
So your mom is the one that allowed you to be groomed. Good to know.
If you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but my mom already knows about it. So I'll say it.
Tell me you're a bad dad without telling us you have a bad dad. Yeah, Dad didn't know I was sending naughty pictures to an 18-year-old man, or maybe just an 18-year-old legal adult when I was a 14-year-old child. Oh, so by the way, she's now admitting. Let's let her admit to it first.
I sent him a very cute picture of my cute little butt.
Okay.
What the fuck? Oh, by the way, why is this guy? So tell me this guy's fucking an absolute creep. Look at this dude on the right. For anybody, again, who's just listening, the guy has got a mouth agape, like excited face after hearing that. By the way, brother, she's 14 when she sent that. That's child pornography. And she also just admitted to sending her now husband child pornography, which means that he received child pornography. So yeah, that's a nice thing to let everybody know about. I can't imagine that this would end up, I don't know, affecting Daniel in his racing career at all, where maybe a sponsor might hear something like this and go, I don't want to be involved or associated with somebody that engaged in that activity. Can't imagine it would affect Daniel in his racing career at all, in any way, shape, or form. Should be all good, right?
Okay.
And I said, "Happy Valentine's Day, Derek. What's my present?" Because obviously I just
Okay. Now for anybody who's not watching the video, now the cohort has a almost shocked and almost disgusted face now. Holy good fucking God. I think Matt's doing a much better job of holding a straight face. But the co-host can't. So yeah. Here's the thing. You can't. Natalie's not to blame for this because she is a child. And the guy who's 18 is the one who engaged in this in the first place. Daniel, her husband, being 18 years old, is the legal adult in this situation and can easily turn and say to her, you're a child, you're 14 years old, I'm 18. We cannot even entertain this at all. And yet he allowed it. And yet he actively engaged in it. To me, this is fucking disgusting. Number one. Number two, extremely stupid to admit, like I said earlier, extremely stupid to admit out loud for everyone to hear. And so for that, I have to sit there and I have to say, good job, Natalie. Very good job. Because this means that this week, this is the dumbest thing you said. The interview, honestly, out of the two things that she did this week, this is the dumbest thing she did this week. The wreck she had at Daytona this last weekend was not the dumbest thing she did. This is the dumbest thing I think she has ever done. Holy fucking shit. So, let's see if there's anything else left in this. Because this is pretty much where the clip ends for anybody who's seen it on social media. So let's actually let this play a little bit more. Let's see what else she wants to admit to the world.
I didn't answer his question on how my weekend was going. That was I just went straight in for it. 'Cause now I'm 18.
Wait, so you were 18 during that Valentine's Day?
Yes. So now it's like years.
Okay. So now
you can almost hear the relief in Matt's voice. Okay, because I took that as, by the way, that's where the clip cuts off. So assumingly, everyone is also assuming that she sent those pictures when she was 14 and not 18. But still, this is extremely odd. Let's see what else she has to admit here.
Now we're legal.
Yeah, okay.
I thought you're still like 14 when that happened. Oh,
No, no, no.
okay.
Lady became legal and went hog wild.
Got it. All right.
And then
I feel
we
better
never
about
stopped
this now.
talking. We never stopped talking since that day.
All right.
I can't
there you
imagine
go.
why.
Valentine's Day. That was 11 years ago. 11 years ago this Valentine's Day.
So your birthday's in February?
I was 18 for I was about to be 19. So I was 18 in June. And then we didn't
So you didn't text him the day you turned 18?
No, because I had a boyfriend, I think.
Well, what the hell?
And I was living down in I had a boyfriend. I did.
What do you mean, what the hell, Matt? What the fuck does he mean by saying that?
I did have a
Wow.
boyfriend.
It was almost a perfect love story.
Another race car driver.
Okay.
Well, so you two race.
The co-host does not. He is not. Okay, by the way, there are only 3 episodes in. About as new as I am on doing podcasts here. There are 3 episodes in. So I can't imagine this co-host here is mentally prepared to deal with something like this. I assume he's probably just somebody either who's friends with Matt or is on like some race team Matt's on or whatever. Some racing guy who does not do this. And he's sitting there going, I don't know what the fuck to do after hearing that. We're only 3 episodes in. What the fuck are we doing here? Let's hear what he has to respond with. Whatever question, because I'll probably end it if they go away from this.
Okay.
Well, so you two race car drivers. What about the little one? You're going to carry on? You're going to pass on the torch?
Okay, yeah, I don't need to hear about that. Anyways, so holy shit. Like I said, whatever happened on track this weekend was not the dumbest thing that Natalie Deckers did. Holy fucking shit. All right, let's go ahead and let's get ready to wrap this thing up. Let's dive in. I want to do, so for the rest of this season, I'm going to do a top 10 list every single week of my power rankings. So NASCAR, I think NASCAR social media people, they post power rankings every now and then, every week or whatever. I'm going to do the same thing every single week here on this show as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. I have a top 10 list here. So my top 10 that I'm going to do every week, I want to make sure that this is perfectly clear because I feel like some people might, they might get confused by this, or they might be like, why is so-and-so in the top 10 or whatever, it is a power rankings and it's not simply based off of just where you finish. Obviously where you finish matters at the end of the day, but obviously this is going to be skewed for week 1. The first couple weeks, you're going to see a lot of movement in my power rankings because, point standings will change and, it's not going to be just a point standings. I'm not going to sit here and be like, whoever's first in the point standings is first in the power rankings, because that might not be totally accurate as far as like somebody having a rough start and all of a sudden they're doing a lot better recently and they might skyrocket up the power rankings. So it's more so somewhat of a recency bias, somewhat of, obviously this first one, like I said, is just going to be based off of the first race of the season. So it's a very short sample size. But I'm going to try my best to be as accurate as I can be, somewhat factoring in everything over the entire season. But I'm not just going to be like sitting there and saying whoever's first in the point standings is going to be first and whoever's second in the point standings is going to be second. It's a power rankings. It's not a point standings. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into week 1's top 10. So 10 through 1, number 10, Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe was able to have himself a bunch of laps led. Although he did crash out, he led 23 laps, was running up towards the front for most of it, crashed out, and finished 36th. Well, he didn't technically crash out. It says he was still running there at the end. So just a bunch of laps down though, and still had himself a good race. I think that Chase is going to carry that momentum that he had from last season into this season, so he is number 10. Number 9, I may not like the guy. I may think he races like an ass sometimes, but John Hunter. John Hunter had himself a bunch of laps led as well. The one thing he is able to do very well, weirdly enough, is do decently well at super speedway races. I don't understand why. Again, he only finished 26th, so that's why he's a little bit farther down the board, but he led himself 19 laps, so he was out front for a good amount of it. And again, involved in some wreck that honestly wasn't, I don't remember it really being his fault. Maybe I'm talking on my ass here and it actually was his fault, but he had qualified well on the weekend. Like I said, led 19 laps. That's nothing to scoff at. So number 9 for John Hunter. Number 8, I got to give it to Michael McDowell. Even though the strategy didn't work out, he was right there at the end, led himself some laps. I mean, the strategy worked out in the sense that it got him towards the front, but it didn't end, obviously, the way they wanted. He was sitting right there at the front on the last lap, had himself a shot of actually winning the race, and just came up one lap short, really, of having a really good finish. So Michael McDowell, he led himself 10 laps. Like I said, that strategy worked out perfectly for him there, staying out. So he gets to be number 8 this week on the power rankings. Number 7, his teammate, Carson Hocevar. He was one lap away from winning himself. He was right there. He made all the right moves right there at the end, and one bad push on the last lap ended up making him finish in like 20, what did he finish? 21st or something? I'm looking right now. Yeah, well, he finished 18th. Close enough. But he led that white flag lap. He just didn't lead the one lap he needed to. He was right there at the end. And like I said, he made a bunch of really good moves. He stuck with his teammate there for most of that last run. He put himself in the right spot. For that, he is number 7. Number 6, Zane Smith. Got to give him credit. He won himself a stage, led laps. He finished P6 in the race as well. Had himself a pretty good run. He led 9 laps as to be exact. And like I said, still he was right there at the end as well. He was in contention. Had himself a shot of winning, and he won himself a stage. So that's worth something there. For that, he is ranked 6th this week. Number 5, Brad Keselowski. Now, if you ask Brad, he had quite literally the dumbest thing that supposedly has ever happened to him on track happen to him, where Riley Herbst came up and ran him into the wall. We'll talk about Riley in a second here. But Brad was right there. Brad, he was right. He had himself a hell of a run, just about got to Tyler Reddick. And even if he didn't get Tyler, he probably would have finished 2nd. He had himself a hell of a run. So even if he didn't beat Tyler to the line, he had himself a shot of at least having a chance of beating him to the line. He had a hell of a run. So kudos to Brad. He still finished top 5. I feel bad for Brad. Him and Kyle are the two, Kyle Busch that is, are the two guys you want to see get a 500 before the end of their career. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to happen at this point. I mean, it's getting down to the wire for both of them here at the end of their careers, and they're running out of chances. Speaking of Kyle Busch, number 4 is Kyle Busch. He had himself a pole to start the season. Had himself a great run here in the race. Led himself 19 laps as well. Everyone's praising Kyle right now because he was on the radio talking about how he was he was like 30th or something like that towards the end of the race, and he completely backed out of the pack before the end of the race with like 2 to go, and his crew chief came on the radio and was like, "What the? Are you running out of fuel? Why are you dropping back?" And Kyle's basically his exact quote was, "What am I going to rush into the wreck? Or we're running 30th. I can't go anywhere." I'm not the biggest personal fan of that, to be quite honest, of just like purposely backing out like that, but whatever. He still finished 15th. Like I said, he had 19 laps that he was out front. They were on the pole for the race. He had still had himself a pretty good run, so that's worthy of a 4th place spot for me in my power rankings. Number 3, Bubba Wallace. Most laps led in the race, led 40 laps. was looking like he had himself a real shot of winning towards the end. He is sneakily very good at these, at the super speedway races. Got to give him credit. It's the same thing with John Hunter. You got to give him credit where credit is due. It's the same thing with Austin Hill. It is, it's now becoming, it's not just luck. I know everyone wants to say super speedway racing is all luck. It's not just all luck. There's skill involved. There's skill. It's more of a mental game than anything. But at the end of the day, there's still skill involved in knowing where to put your car, when to go there, all that other stuff. But I'll give Bubba, after finishing 10th and leading 40 laps, a third place spot in my power rankings. I think that's deserving. Number 2, Chase Elliott. Literally, like I said earlier about Carson being 1 lap away from winning the 500, Chase was probably half a lap away from winning the 500. He really was. And honestly, there was a moment there where they could have threw the caution and they could have gave it to him, where he got out front and I kept waiting for that yellow and waiting for that yellow and waiting for that yellow, and it never came out. And Chase was out front in a perfect position. He just got gained up on by 2 teammates and wasn't able to block the run, and that's ultimately what beat him. And number 1, speaking of those 2 teammates, I cannot not give the guy who won the 500 the number 1 spot in my power rankings. Tyler Reddick made all the right moves, was able to get himself to the end. He had a huge assist from his teammate to get him that win, but ultimately the guy still won the race. He's still deserving of the number 1 spot in the power rankings for that exact reason right there. So, to end the show every week, I think it could be fun to end the show every week with our Asshats of the week. The few people that I can try to come up with who have made an absolute... So we came up with our top 10 of some of the best. Let's talk about some of the worst that made absolute asshats out of themselves this week. Starting with number 3, Jamie Little. Jamie Little made an absolute asshat out of herself, being, once again, the prime shining example of somebody who does not deserve the spot that they're currently in. Once again, great call by Jamie Little. You can tell the sarcasm in my voice by how I sound. So Jamie Little gets to win Asshat of the week at number 3. Number 2 is Riley Herbst. I agree with Brad Keselowski. What the fuck was Riley Herbst trying to do? That motherfucker drove up the track so quick for almost no reason other than, again, simply to make sure his teammate won the race. I guess good thing he was trying to help his teammate, but still, literally, there was no good ending that was going to come from that move at all. He had no run. Brad had all of the run, and it ended with a gigantic wreck between all the cars behind him and everybody. Good job. Riley, in one move, probably cost all of those teams collectively $1 million in that one move. At least $1 million all in that one move. For really no reason other than making sure that his teammate won the 500. And our number 1 asshat of the week, can you take a guess who it is? Our wonderful Natalie Decker, who filled a nice solid amount of this show. Thank you, Natalie. You are our asshat of the week. Congratulations, Natalie, for exposing your boyfriend to being an absolute groomer and being an asshat, not only on the track, but off the track as well. So, with that being said, we are through. I appreciate everybody for listening and sticking around for this long. I hope you all enjoyed this first podcast. I'm going to be doing this every single week. As far as time frames, if you are interested in continuously listening to us, the plan for right now is probably going to be uploading Tuesday morning. We'll be competing with Door Bumper Clear, I guess. Uploading every Tuesday morning going forward, talking about all of the news and all of the happenings within NASCAR. I hope you all enjoy this podcast. I want to make this more laid back. I want to make this more fun, not formulaic, not, oh, we got to stick to strict schedules and we can't say certain words. We can't talk about this. We can't talk about that. No pot shots intended. I'm just being honest. If you go listen to if the main podcast group for NASCAR podcasts is Dirty Mo Media. It's Dale Jr.'s podcast. It's Door Bumper Clear. It's Tear Down. It's Kenny Wallace and Ken Schrader. I don't even know what they call their podcast. But it's that group of podcasts is like the main feed of podcasts, it seems, for NASCAR-related content. It's very PG. They say naughty words, but there's also a lot of things that they don't talk about. Like, I would be genuinely shocked if they did a full deep dive. Maybe not a full deep dive, but even if they truly talked about Natalie Deckers' little interview there with Matt Tifft, I'd be genuinely shocked. I can almost guarantee you they will not talk about that. They will completely ignore it. They won't even address. They might make a snide joke about it. Probably the Door Bumper Clear guys will probably make some snide joke about it, but nobody else in their little ecosystem of podcasts there are going to talk about it. So I want to leave this completely open-ended and talk about anything and everything NASCAR. I don't want any censorship. I don't want for this to be a formulaic thing in any way, shape, or form. I want this to be fun. I want to enjoy myself. I want to say whatever I want to talk about, whatever. Anyways, I'm already rambling here at the end. But basically, I'm saying I hope y'all enjoy this. I hope it's fun. I hope that this is more of like a true funny comedy, fun podcast for all the NASCAR fans out there. Not the fucking weird, autistic whatevers that are the fans who want to keep everything PG and don't talk about anything controversial. Don't ever talk about anything like that. I don't want that shit. So this is going to be fun. I think this will be fun. I really hope you stick around. This is going to be a fun podcast. This really, really is. I'm excited to continuously do this. So I will see y'all same time next week. Talk about all the happenings coming out of Atlanta and whatever other stupid things Natalie Decker wants to talk about. I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Take it easy.